Def Jam Icon is the third game that Electronic Arts has released with the Def Jam name on it, but it's actually very, very different when compared to the other two. The gameplay is interesting, but what this game really shines is in its completely over-the-top story mode and pretty fantastic representation of licensed rappers.
Step back.
This is a fighting game. It's not a wrestling game, but at the same time, you wouldn't really directly compare it to something like Virtua Fighter or Tekken or Street Fighter. It's probably most directly comparable, actually, to Fight Night Round 3, which the team worked on previously. It's very methodically paced, and it's actually pretty much sluggish at times. You really kind of walk over to guys, throw strikes at them, and the game's very much based around the concept of countering every single move that's available. So you have high and low strikes, so you can block those strikes, but you have to guess high or low. Or you can try to counter those strikes, but you again have to guess high or low. If someone goes for a block, you can then try to grab them, but if they see the grab coming, then they can strike you out of it. Then on top of that, there are throws and all this other stuff that kind of works together to form a pretty balanced fighting system. On top of the actual just kind of grabbing people and countering and blocking, there's a whole other level to the gameplay that involves the music. The music plays a pretty big role in the actual fighting because the backgrounds actually kind of pulsate in time with the music, and everything in the level explodes at set intervals. So, every 4 bars, on the first kick drum, everything will just pop, and there are a bunch of dangerous spots around the level that you don't want to be standing in when that happens. A big part of the gameplay is to grab someone and throw them into one of those spots or kick them into one of those spots and then activate the DJ controls. The DJ controls are actually air turntabling, and there are 2 different things you can do. When you have someone in a dangerous spot, you can kind of rewind the song that's playing with a little air turntabling, and that'll get it back to a spot where everything explodes and you can kind of activate everything at will. The other thing you can do is switch the songs that are playing. Before the fight, you pick which song is your song, and your opponent will also have their song. And when your song is playing, you do more damage. So it's beneficial for you to make sure that your song's playing. The flow of the fight is, you want to try to knock someone over, and then, do a little air turntabling to make sure that your song's playing, and then from there try to keep it playing. And you can counter your opponent's turntable craziness with a little stomp to the ground that'll knock them over. So for every action, there's a counter to that action, and it just kind of escalates from there. But at the same time, it's not really like a fighting game because there isn't really a combo structure in the game. There are no 3-second hits or anything like that. Every single move can be countered, every single move can be blocked, and that keeps it interesting. The graphics in the game are also really sharp. The characters do look really accurate, and as they fight, they'll get scraped up, so you'll see jackets kind of getting torn, and faces definitely getting bruised up as you fight, and that's a really cool touch. But to go with the kind of pulsating backgrounds, there's some really neat effects there as well. There's an outdoor level where you're fighting in front of a house that kind of in time with the music, the clouds just rapidly scroll by and stop and rapidly scroll by and stop, and that's a really neat look. Also, depending on whose song is playing, the whole level kind of gets tinged into different colors. So the whole level kind of has 2 different looks to it depending on which fighter has their song playing, and that's a really neat effect as well. The colors start to get kind of more intense as the fight nears its conclusion, kind of as someone's getting beaten up more and more. The colors start to run a little bit, and it's a really neat effect there too. So what really makes Def Jam Icon worth playing is its atmosphere. It gets so much right, and it feels pretty authentic with just how it treats the rappers in the game, the soundtrack, the way that it's all uncensored. All that stuff works really well and combines to form a really sharp product featuring all these different licensed characters. You might not expect them to fit together as well as they do. The fighting might be a little too straightforward in spots, but at the end of the day, it holds up its end of the bargain as well. So if you're interested in rappers, specifically the rappers that are in this game, this is pretty much a must-own.